Hi, I'm Jason Dasent and I'm coming to you from my recording studio here in sunny Trinidad. Today I'm really happy to show you what my company has done to make Native Instruments machine accessible using VoiceOver. First we're going to show how we've made the machine browser accessible with VoiceOver. We've done this via a series of menus that we've programmed, and we use different keyboard shortcuts to access these menus. So I'm going to go Shift Command F and this will open the file menu.
Application button.
This is where I can choose the file type, and as you can see, a menu has opened from which I can choose
All effects button, all groups button, all instruments button, all projects button, all samples button, all sounds button.
So I'm going to choose all groups.
All groups button. Machine 2, new project start win.
So we're now in groups and I want to select kits. So I'm going to open another menu.
Application button. Kits button, loops button, multi-FX button, loop kits button. Machine 2.
So I'm now in kits and I want to load an analog kit.
Application button, acoustic kit, analog kit button. Machine 2, new project start win.
Okay, so now I'm going over to the hardware and I'm using a Machine Mark III. And I must mention that for maximum accessibility, we use both the hardware and my software macros that I've programmed. So I'm on the hardware now, I'm going to hit browse and I can use the dial to select the different kits, and I have pre-hear enabled, so I'll hear the kits as I turn the dial to move among them. So I guess this kit is cool for now, so I'm going to just press down on the dial to load it. And it's up. So I'm coming out of browse mode now. So we have this kit loaded now, and I can play it off the pads. Okay, so there you go, loading a drum kit with machine with VoiceOver. Okay, we're now going to show a couple extra macros we've created for the browser. And I'm going to execute this by Shift Command X.
Application.
And we can either choose
Factory button, favorites off button, favorites on button, user button. Machine 2.
So now I'm in the user section of the browser. I'm going to go back into the same menu.
Factory button.
Change it back to factory.
Machine 2.
I can also
Application favorites on button.
Turn on favorites.
Application favorites off button.
And I can turn it off.
Machine favorites off.
Now we're going to show the search function in machine, how we've made it accessible. So I'm on the hardware now and I'm going to press B to go to group B, and now I have an empty group on group B. So I'm back in browse and I'm going to clear the filters, which is groups kits analog now. So I'm going to clear all these filters. So I'm going to execute another macro that I have.
Application.
And I have either to clear the search or to search now.
Clear search box, clear search button. Machine 2, search clear.
And as you can see, all the filters have been removed and we're just in groups. So I'm going to go back to kits.
Application, button, kits button. Machine 2, new project start.
And I know there's a kit called something London. It's something like Deep London or Deep House London or something like that. So I'm going to search for it by just executing my search command.
Application, clear search button. Search box button. Machine 2, please type.
And I'm going to type in London. And I know there's only one kit with London in my whole machine library, so it should be up on screen now. And yeah, it's like Deep London. So I'm going to just press down on the dial to load it. And there you go, Deep London. I should be able to play it on the pads now. And there you go, searching in machine using VoiceOver. Now we're going to show how easy it is to build a drum kit using VoiceOver. So I'm going to press C on the controller, and it's an empty group. I'm going to choose from my file types.
Application.
I'm going to choose all samples.
All samples button. Machine 2.
I'm going to choose drums.
Application, drums button. Machine 2.
And on pad 1, I'm going to load a kick sample. So,
Application class high hot kick button. Machine 2.
okay, and
Dim,
let's
close
load,
button.
for example, let's say an acoustic kick.
Application kick acoustic button. Machine 2. New project start window.
And now
Dim,
I'm just
close
pressing
button.
down on the dial. And yeah, I think I want this kick here. Okay, so let's load a snare on pad 2.
Application class hot kick snare button. Machine 2.
And let's say we want an analog snare.
Dim application button. Machine 2. New project start window. Dim application snare analog button. Machine 2. New project start window. Dim close button.
I'm just going to quickly turn on pre here so that I can scroll through and hear what I'm doing using the dial. Okay, so this is fine for now. Okay, so I have the kick and snare. Let's put a close hi-hat on pad 3.
Application clap symbol but hi-hat close button. Machine 2. New project start window. Dimmed close button.
And the analog filter is still up, so I'm gonna scroll through. Yeah, that's fine for now. And let's put an open hi-hat on pad 4.
Application clap sim hi-hat close button. Hi-hat open button. Machine 2.
Okay.
Application but machine 2.
Yeah, I still want the analog filter up, so. Okay, that will do for now. So if I wanted to fill all 16 pads, and just keep going as I've been going. And now I want to make a couple changes to the hi-hats. Specifically, I want to turn on the mute groups. So I'm going to just come out of browse mode. And I want to turn on pad view. So I'm going to do this with another keyboard shortcut I've created.
Dimmed close button. Pad view enabled.
So now that pad view is enabled, I'm going to hit pad 1 and I'm going to execute another macro. And this is where I have all the choke groups selected.
1 button, 2, 3 button, 4, 5 button.
So I want the hi-hats to be assigned to choke group 1, so I'm just going to type 1.
Machine 2, new project start.
And I'm going to select the open hi-hat now. And I'm going to open the choke group
Dim,
again.
close button, app button.
And I also want this
1, 2.
to be pad 1. Sorry, group 1.
Machine 2, new project start.
So both open and close hi-hats should be set to pad 1. So group 1 now, sorry. And it's working exactly how I want it to. The close hi-hat is actually muting the open, so I can go. And there you go, building a drum kit in Machine with VoiceOver. Let's build a drum pattern. So I'm back on group A now, and I have a vinyl kit loaded. So I'm just playing on the pads right now. So I want to go into the pattern editor. So I'm actually going to do this on the hardware by pressing pattern, holding pattern and pressing pad 1 to load an empty pattern on group A, pattern 1. So the first thing I want to do is set the tempo. And I can do this, by pressing the tap button. 1, 2, 3, 4. But what I realized with that is you wouldn't quite know what the tempo is because, of course, we can't see the screen. So we've created a macro to allow us to type in the tempo. So,
please type tempo.
And if you heard VoiceOver is prompting me to type in the tempo. So I want the tempo to be like, let's say 96 for a kind of down-tempo R&B groove. Next thing I want to do is select the number of bars, and I want to make a 4-bar pattern.
Dimmed close button. Dimmed close.
I'm going to execute
Dimmed
macro
close.
here.
Please type number of bars.
So it's asking me to type the number of bars. So I'm going to press 4 and press enter. And now all I need to do is hold shift and record. It's going to give me 1-bar counting, and I'm going to program my drum pattern. So I'm coming out of record mode and I'm going to press stop. So I have my drum pattern recorded now. So I want to swing the pattern a little bit, so I'm going to do this on the hardware. So I'm pressing swing and I'm just going to use the dial to swing it. So that feels pretty good to me. So the next thing I want to do is go into the mixer, which I'm doing on the hardware as well. So let's pan these triangles maybe to the left. So again, I'm on the hardware. Let's put the hi-hat on the right. Triangles are a little bit loud, so of course this is nothing really productive. It just sounds like noise, but I'm just showing you how easy it is to create a pattern and do a quick mix of it. Let's pull the snare down a little bit. So I'm pressing stop, and there you have it, creating a drum pattern using VoiceOver. Okay, so we're going to export the pattern we just created as audio. I do this because I also work in Pro Tools and sometimes I bring in the audio from Machine for mixing. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the export audio window with Command E.
Export audio. Exports.
Which is actually a Machine command. Now that I'm in this window, let me show you how easy it is to change the settings using VoiceOver. So first thing I'm going to do is look at the bit depth.
Application 16, 24, 32-bit float button. Machine 2.
So I actually want 24.
Application 16, 24 button. Machine 2 exports on as audio.
Okay, and I'm going to show you the file type selection.
Application button.
This is the format we want to export to. So we can either choose
AIFF button.
AIFF or WAV.
Wave button.
So I know that WAV is actually selected already, so that's how I want it.
AF button. Machine 2 exports on.
Let's look at the sample rate.
Application 44,000, 48,000, 88,000, 96,000. Machine 2.
Selected 96, but I actually want 44. I'm just doing this to show you how easy it is to change.
Application 44,000. Machine 2 exports on as.
Let's look at the outputs, how we want to, what we want to actually export.
Application.
So we can choose
Group outputs button, master output button, sound outputs button.
So actually want group outputs, which is already selected.
Machine 2.
Let's look at the scene selection.
Application all button.
I can either select all or
Selected button.
selected, which is fine, which is where it is.
Machine 2.
Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I want to choose the destination where the audio is actually going to be exported to. So
back, forward icon, list, column, vertical splitter.
So I just did a keyboard command and it actually opened up like a Finder window.
Browser 0 arrange, exports, pop-up.
And that's exactly where I wanted to go to export. So I'm going to just press escape.
Now in export.
I'm going to name the file now. And let's just call it Machine Demo. MASCHINEDEMO. And once I press enter, it's actually going to export the file.
Window. Now in exports on as audio.
Okay, and there you go. So I'm just going to go to make sure the file is actually there.
Ops, OBS 22, machine, Finder, desktop.
So I'm in my Finder.
Documents.
Now I'm not too sure if the screen capture is capturing this, but I'm basically just in the Finder, and I'm going to go to
main drum picks, folder, native
instruments,
list one item,
machine
2,
exports,
machine demo, folder,
and machine demo, and if I open this
001 scene 1, banger load kit.wav, waveform audio.
Okay, and this is the file that I just exported. If I just press the space bar, it's going to preview it for me.
Now in quick look window. Now in
and there you go, exporting audio in Machine with VoiceOver. So that in a nutshell is our accessible version of Native Instruments Machine. I must mention that we have many other features of Machine accessible right now. For example, the channel properties, inputs, outputs, selecting the destination for each sound and groups, and much more. I'd like to make special mention to IC Music, the institution out of Chicago, where I teach machine to the visually impaired around the world. Actually, we offer a really comprehensive machine course online. Also to Sweetwater for sponsoring our presentation at Access Chicago last July. Thank you for taking the time to watch this demo.